what have I got myself into today? Now this is definitely going to be a video where the comment section is very important, and I urge you all to share your opinions on what I'm going to talk about in this video in the comment section down below, if you're comfortable, that is. And I say it like that because you know how the internet is. What I've gathered, being that I'm from the very first generation that grew up online and saw the internet in its infant state, is that no matter what social media platform is popular at the time, what the internet wants to do is it wants to put you in a bubble, right? The online algorithm wants to put you into a bubble. And in that bubble is a group of people who all agree with each other and share the same opinions on everything. And from what I've seen is that this can actually be very unhealthy because it gives you a sort of like a false sense of reality. Whenever people stay in this bubble for too long, it makes them think that their small friend group on the internet's opinion is like the majority opinion. It's like the right way to think, and everybody who disagrees with them, like, they're a small minority over there, when in reality you could have the minority opinion and everybody else in the world could disagree with you. And it makes it difficult for some people to respect others' varying opinions, and it can also make it difficult for them to combat those varying opinions in real life, because you're surrounding yourself with a bunch of people who already agree with you. It's not really challenging, and it's not great for personal growth. What I have found to be most healthy for me is that whenever I find a bubble like that starting to form, I immediately pop it. And sometimes I don't even have to, because some of those people, if you say something they don't like, they'll immediately push you to the other side. Like, you're either right or you're left, and they don't like for you to stray out of line. But the world is not black or white. It's different shades of gray, and you need to find that perfect, healthy gray for yourself. And I said all of that because this channel, I have never wanted it to be an echo chamber, and I personally don't think that any content creator should be trying to build one. Hell, some of the influencers on here have basically made their own cults. Basically, if you see somebody and you don't like what they have to say, try to have a civil conversation. I know we're doll collectors here, but that doesn't mean that we have to act like children. So the early 2000s was a very experimental time for fashion, but what I don't see anybody talking about is how prevalent cultural appropriation was in that decade. And cultural appropriation has been a heated topic on the internet for the past decade or so, but I feel like the attitude was much different in the early 2000s, and it wasn't really so much seen as appropriation and more so appreciation. Cultures all borrowing from one another, as they have all throughout history, and that's what America's about, isn't it? America is a melting pot of a bunch of different cultures. People are from everywhere here. Hell, both of my roommates, they're all the way from India. Their Indian food and my Latino food have our apartment smelling very spicy. And believe it or not, cultural appropriation is not exclusively a white people thing. I've seen plenty of black women online who felt more than comfortable wearing kimonos. I have seen Asian people on the internet who have been more than comfortable wearing bantu knots and other protective hairstyles. And there are so many double standards. Like, why is it okay when your favorite female rapper does it, but not when an average person does? And although the people who are fighting against cultural appropriation, their voices are the loudest, there are a lot of people of color who really don't give a fuck. Because I mean, hell, whose life is so boring that they gotta be complaining on Twitter that Ashley from Wisconsin that nobody knows has micro braids? I mean, me personally, I'm not gonna get offended if I see somebody who I know isn't Hispanic wearing a sombrero and a poncho when there are much worse things in the world going on. Me making this channel and befriending a lot of international people by proxy has really given me a new perspective. And I've realized that Americans, they really be making their own problems And it's really telling how easy somebody's life is based off of what they're complaining about online. Anyways, sometimes I forget this is a fashion doll channel. And you know, we can learn a lot about a decade, especially in fashion, based off of fashion dolls. Both of the dolls that we're going to be looking at today are products of their time, and they are both controversial in their own ways. The first doll that we're going to be looking at today was controversial more so by accident. So this is Oreo Barbie from 2001. Now, most of you all have already heard this story, but just in case you haven't, this doll was very controversial because Mattel made both a white version and a black version of the Oreo Barbie in 2001. And if you didn't know, Oreo was sort of like a derogatory slang word back then. I'm pretty sure it's extinct at this point. I haven't heard anybody use that word in the way that this doll was controversial for. Whenever somebody referred to a black person as an Oreo in the early 2000s, they were basically saying that they were black on the outside and white on the inside, like an Oreo is. A black person that acts like a white person, basically. And that, of course, is a very awful thing to say about somebody because there is no specific way that a black person should act. And there's also no specific way that a white person acts. It's just really immature. So this doll, the black version, was really controversial by accident. And you know, I was thinking about it recently, and you know, Mattel and MGA have both had their own controversies, but they handle them differently. Mattel, most of the time, whenever they have a controversy, it almost always feels accidental. Like, it helps the value of the doll that was in that controversy, of course, but it never really feels like Mattel meant for a controversy to happen, whereas MGA, they'll use it to their advantage. Like MGA's over here sculpting unnecessary details like nipples and genitalia on their dolls. They make their own controversies on purpose because it gets attention. Both are different ways to operate a business. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but this is Oreo Barbie from 2001 in her packaging. And you can see that I got her for a very good deal at McKay's for only $6. How can you pass that up? And here is 2001's Oreo School Time Barbie, straight out of her packaging. See, I didn't even know that she had the School Time Fun part in her name because most people just call this Oreo Barbie. And like I said, that this is the white version of the doll. The dolls, like their faces, didn't have anything interesting about them. They both used the stereotypical face sculpt that was used for the white and black Barbies of that decade. So the white Barbie uses the Generation Girl face sculpt. She has her traditional blue eyes, like a neutral colored lipstick. And she also has this very, very beautiful Kanekalon platinum blonde hair. I think these dolls, despite how controversial they are, this is such a fun design for a food-themed Barbie. I really love her Oreo bag. That's my most favorite part of her outfit, is this Oreo bag. I'm gonna try not to move around the faux vinyl pieces too much because I don't want, like, this material to rip. But this is so cute to me. And it even has a little box of Oreos on the inside. It's just like a flat piece of cardboard. But you can see that she also comes with this long sleeve shirt with an Oreo pattern on it, this faux vinyl vest in this royal blue color. It's a really, really beautiful shade of blue. The only thing I don't like about the outfit is this long ass skirt of hers. I thought mini skirts were in the early 2000s. What is this? This is basically the same skirt that the first edition Bratz Sasha doll came with, and her outfit is my least favorite out of the first wave of Bratz dolls because of this skirt. This would look so much cuter if this skirt was like 5 inches shorter. It does have a real pocket on the front and is made out of this really interesting sock-like material. Very beautiful shade of blue. She also has this really interesting shoe sculpt that I've never seen before. They're this dark navy blue color with white trim at the bottom. Really love this design overall. I think this doll has a lot of great pieces that I'll be able to work into other looks. I'm so happy that I found this doll for only $6 because Lord knows I wasn't going to pay those insane eBay prices for the black version. Because I think this is a really cute design and a very nice quality doll. And I personally think that the controversy was a little blown out of proportion. But back on the topic of cultural appropriation. One of Mattel's first attempts in combating Brazz's popularity in the early 2000s was a short-lived doll line called Flavas. Mattel invested an insane amount of time, money, and resources in combating Bratz in the early 2000s because they were very afraid that Barbie was losing her spotlight as America's #1 fashion doll. And if it wasn't obvious, Flavas bombed. And it was so bad that I heard that it even led some Mattel employees to getting laid off or quitting their jobs because it was such a failure. Making an entirely new doll line, especially in the early 2000s, a Mattel doll line where all the base dolls are so unique and face sculpt and appearance, isn't cheap. It's very expensive. I think the general consensus for Flavas were that they were too stereotypical. Isaac Larian, even at one point on his LinkedIn, called them Gangsta Barbie. But despite how controversial they were, Flavas were very high quality dolls, as most Mattel products were in the early 2000s. And also at McKay's, look what I found. The most controversial Flavas doll of them all. So this is Happy D, at least that's what the box says. And you can see that I found her also at McKay's for only $24, which is a really good deal for this doll, even if you just wanted her for her clothing pieces as I did. And if you couldn't tell what the most controversial thing about this doll is, it's that she's a white doll with micro braids. If you don't know, or if you're too young to remember, in the late 90s, early 2000s, there were a lot of white female pop stars who were doing their hair in micro braids, and this is definitely reminiscent of that trend. And you can say this doll is mixed or biracial if you want to. It's your doll, but most people, when they look at this, they see a white woman with micro braids. Just like whenever most people look at Swag from LOL OMG, they see 2000s Christina Aguilera with micro braids. And you can debate in the comments whether this is wrong or not. Personally, I don't care because I've met black people who it bothers them whenever people who aren't black, no matter what race they are, wear these protective hairstyles. And then I've also met other black people who don't give a fuck what other people do with their hair. So if this bothers you, let me know why. Now this is Flavas Happy D in her packaging, and you can see that she comes with a lot of accessories that I'm going to be stealing for my Barbie dolls. This box is really fun because it actually turns into a display. So you can fold it out and display your doll in front of the box. You can also see all the other Flavas dolls on the back. I had that one. That's Kiana Brown. She's the main character of the Flavas doll line. Even though she's not front and center, she should be right here because I'm pretty sure she's supposed to be like the main character. This doll is from 2003, and I definitely don't regret picking her up because she's got a lot of nice clothing pieces, even if I don't end up using the doll. And if I find any other ones in store, I'm definitely going to be getting them for the clothes. All right, so here is Flavas Happy D straight out of her packaging. And you can see that her hair has come out of its original hairstyle. I believe it was in a ponytail, but you know those old rubber bands disintegrate. So this is the Flavas head sculpt for Happy D. I'm not sure if the other dolls had unique head sculpts. I'm pretty sure my Kiana Brown has her own face. So this is sort of an in-between Barbie and Bratz. See, they still have semi-real proportions, but they do have the over-exaggerated heads like the Bratz dolls did. But they do come fully articulated with articulation at the shoulder, the elbow, the upper torso so they can dance a little bit. Also the hip, a bend and snap knee, and full rotation at the head. From my experience with Flavas though, their necks can snap extremely easily. Like they got that 1980s skipper neck syndrome where if you try to pose them too much, they'll just end up with a broken neck. Her makeup is very reminiscent of the early 2000s with her frosted blue eyeshadow and her thinner eyebrows. Her fashion is also very reminiscent of that decade. You can see that she comes wearing this cropped sleeveless shirt. She also comes with her blang blang, a little H that stands for Happy D. I thought that this might be like a tube top under her crop top, but it's not. It's just some black lining. She also has some baggy denim jeans with these pockets at the lower part of the pants, which are real pockets. I remember wearing these whenever I was a kid. And she also comes with a pair of white kicks with real socks underneath. So like I said, early 2000s Mattel products, you can expect quality. I mean, these were Playline dolls, and when's the last time that we've seen a real chain on a Playline Mattel product? Really? She also came with some accessories like this black canvas bag with this flame print on the front. And also she has a black boom box and a secondary pair of shoes that say Tokyo on the side for some reason. She also comes with a comb, which it's so funny whenever a doll with micro braids comes with a comb, because what are you gonna do with it? I feel like I'm threatening her almost. She also comes with a couple extra clothing pieces like this pair of desaturated green pants. They have like a frayed edges at the bottom, which is intentional in this case, unlike modern Mattel fashions. And also this really cute black hoodie, which this piece is what sold me on this doll because I plan on adding this to June's wardrobe. So expect to see her wearing this occasionally. And finally, she also comes with these little tattoo things that you're supposed to put on her clothes in the background with this tool that looks like a mini vacuum. The Flavas doll line can be described with only 2 words, and those 2 words are wasted potential. Let me know, did Happy D culturally appropriate, or did she culturally appropriate? If you didn't know, 8 is modern gay slang for looking nice. Why can't we ever just say what we mean? So what are your feelings towards Oreo Barbie and Gangsta Barbie? That's what the comment section is for. I just want you all to feel comfortable with sharing your opinions on here, whether you like a doll or not. I feel like the doll community in general needs to get used to other people not liking the things that they like. Some people can take it really personally when you don't like something they do. If you haven't already, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy my content to support my channel, and I'll see you all next video. Thank you so much. Bye.